there for roughly an hour and a half. They took the tarp off the field. We looked at the radar that we had up here, looked at the radar that they had up on the scoreboards, and it looked like torrential downpours for hours and hours and hours. Thought maybe 10 o'clock there might be a window. But then they took the field, the tarp off the field. They got everything ready. Looks like they're taking the tarp off home plate and the mound. So lots of uncertainty here.
Well, and what ends up happening here, Paul, is that they're trying to manage, you know, when the heavy rain's going to come and just the sprinkle that we see. And again, that's so hard to do when you're on the edge of basically a huge storm. The idea, look, they're taking the tarp off a home plate. They've got that water. They're going to dump it to the side. They were able to cover home plate because they knew the rain was coming back. You just never know how much it's going to be. So listen, I don't think that we would have gone this far to get the umpires on the field, get the lineups exchanged if there wasn't going to be a first pitch coming here relatively soon. My guess is that this bit of rain that we're dealing with will probably be out of the area within 5 minutes.
One would have to think, because I don't think there would be any other situation where you'd start the game in these conditions unless you thought it was going to be clear in 10 or 15 minutes. Of course, this weekend, number 10, Chipper Jones, was officially inducted in the Hall of Fame. He and his dad, a terrific connection they had. He's taken batting practice with a pipe and used to play with a PVC pipe when he was a kid. Didn't fare too well. Didn't look like a Hall of Famer there, but then Jim Thome, boom. 612, was that the number, home runs for him? There's 613 right there. Like it's nothing. Roll out of bed, hit a home run. Jim Thome.
Yeah, a little flick of the wrist. That's all it took. He was so amazed at the power that Jim possessed. Here come the Atlanta Braves, I'll tell you what. Well, there is Chipper Jones. What an incredible year. I was watching a little in-game program that they had going on in the stadium. Bobby Cox was talking about Chipper. And you add up all those numbers, Paul, and you break it down from year to year. You see start to finish 93 to 2012. As consistent as any Hall of Famer has ever been. He was talking about in his 34 and year 35 season. He won a batting title, for crying out loud. This is a guy who just got it done consistently every season.
Yeah, a Hall of Fame career for Chipper Jones and the first start of a career for Kolby Allard. And one of the guys, one of the many, by the way, that they have a very deep farm system that they think could be a big arm in the future, making his first big league start, but he made 18 terrific starts at AAA this year, a 2.80 ERA.
Well, he certainly did. He's a former first-round pick, 14th overall, their 2015 draft class. He gets kind of comparisons to Tom Glavine. Words like poise and control, certainly part of Allard's makeup. He's in a situation here where he's looking to capitalize on what they call a spot start, although I couldn't help but, tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, listen, remember the last time we talked about a kid making a spot start? It was Walker Buehler with the Dodgers. He went on and threw a no-hitter a few starts later. So you see Allard obviously getting the opportunity tonight, and rain or not, he's ready to go.
Absolutely. Trying to make the most of an opportunity, I suppose, from a Braves standpoint. For the Marlins, here is a look at their batting order presented to you by Southwest. Again, on the position player side of things, one guy that we have seen in this starting lineup quite a bit the last few weeks, Cameron Maybin. We wish him the best. He is on his way to Seattle to join the Mariners. But this is the lineup that the Marlins put forth today. No Justin Bour in the lineup. It's Miguel Rojas over at first. Starlin Castro will lead things off, followed by Brian Anderson, as we are ready for baseball. As long as we get a rosin bag out there, that's all we need is a rosin bag out there for Kolby Allard. How about that?
Well, come on.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like,
you thought something got forgotten.
Like,
if anything was going to get forgotten, today was the day, right?
All right, so here we go. The first pitch of Kolby Allard's major league career is a called strike to Starlin Castro, and we, through the raindrops here in Atlanta, are underway at SunTrust Park. Into the wind, and he'll find the corner. 0-2 to Starlin. 2 for 4 last night with a stolen base for Castro. Has had very good numbers this year against the Braves. 10 for 41, 2 home runs, and 6 RBIs. So here are the particulars on the time. First pitch officially at 9:02 after a 1 hour and 27-minute delay to start. There could be more delays as the night rolls along. But there is a hit for Starlin Castro to lead off the ball game.
Well, no surprise there. Starlin Castro, best in the National League at getting 2 strike hits, number 54 on the season. All right, let's get you the AutoNation scouting report. Colby Allard for tonight's ball game. Fastball command, that will be key. 88 to 93, you're going to see it from him tonight. He likes his fastball. Again, it's not about the velocity, it's about the ability to put it on both corners. He gets a lot of praise for that throughout his minor league career. Now, change of pace. You saw it against Castro. He did throw one. I do wonder how much those secondary pitches will factor in tonight, mainly because of the wet conditions. So another fastball lined into center by Brian Anderson. Great swing right there. He's ready to roll.
Yes, he is. Back-to-back hits.
Well, and here's the thing. You know, I was reading the scouting report on Colby, and you see curve coming. Okay, so that's his primary off-speed pitch. It's 12 to 6. We haven't seen it yet in the ball game. But again, a lot of praise for the fastball and the fastball command. But here's the kicker. The Marlins, one of the best teams in all of baseball when it comes to hitting the fastball. In fact, they are second in the National League with a .277 batting average against the fastball. So this could be a very favorable matchup tonight for the Marlins.
2 on for JT Realmuto, who takes a ball inside. JT bats with 2 on and nobody out after back-to-back hits for Castro and Anderson right back up the middle. The hit for Anderson, 107 off the bat. An absolute laser up the middle. So we'll see if the Marlins can capitalize. This one is popped up behind home plate. Kurt Suzuki gives it a look, but into the seats. A ball and a strike. Realmuto was 1 for 5 last night with a double and an RBI. He's been swinging a hot bat in the last month or so. 30 games for JT. 323 with a .907 OPS. 11 doubles, 6 homers, 30 RBIs in that stretch. This one popped up. Camargo having to deal with the raindrops will make the play in foul ground. It's an infield fly rule in effect anyway, and there is 1 away.
Let's get you the Braves defensively for this evening's ballgame. Acuna gets the start in left. Inciarte in center. Marquez once again in right. Camargo, Swanson, Albies, and Freeman. That is your infield. Suzuki behind the plate tonight. He's got a .399 catcher's ERA. And, oh, by the way, just to keep an eye on, he's only caught 1 base stealer this season. Base stealers 24 for 25 against Suzuki.
In steps Martin Prado. Misses upstairs. Ball and no strikes to Martin. Was 2 for 4 last night. A home run, 13 RBIs on the season. Very effective, very locked in since coming off the disabled list. 1-1.
And for Allard, some of his numbers in AAA this season, I do find it interesting. Again, very effective against the lefties and the righties. But here you go. .248 batting average against lefties, righties .249. He's only given up 6 home runs. All of his starts at AAA Gwinnett. Let's look at his changeup.
I mean, we had heard yesterday, and he brought it up before, some comparisons to Tom Glavine. Certainly high praise. First big league start. You know, I'll check back with you in a few innings. As this one grounded to Camargo, over to first, and a double play. I was going to say I'll check back in a few innings and see if you think he's like Tommy. We'll see. Bottom of the first on the way. Park, bottom of the first on the way. Marlins get back-to-back hits in the first inning, but cannot dent the scoreboard in the run column against the youngster. On the flip side, the offensive side of things, the Marlins will face this order tonight, presented to you by Southwest. Ronald Acuna Jr. leads off for the Braves tonight. Has really been very productive out of that spot the last week plus. That moves Ozzie Albies into the 2 spot. He has been pretty good out of the 2 spot, despite the fact that since tweaking the hamstring, the bat has cooled off a little bit. But Freddie Freeman stays hot. Nick Markakis stays hot. Johan Camargo has been very good against the Marlins this year as well. So it's up to Dan Straley to quiet the Braves bats tonight.
Well, he's the right man for the job. He's been throwing the ball very well, making his 17th start of the season. 9th career start against the Atlanta Braves, 4-2 with a 4.35 ERA against them in his career. This season, though, a couple of starts in May, 1.50 ERA. He's been throwing the ball again, as I said, very well over his last 6 games. 5 quality starts and a 3. Opponent's batting average against of 199. What's been big for Dan, the sinker's back. We've seen it a number of times. Saw it in his last start. He's not only throwing the 4-seam fastball, but the 2-seamer to go along with it. Playing off it well. Good changeup, good slider. Slider is #1 strikeout pitch.
A little low and away to Acuna Jr., who was 1-4 last night, but the one home run, again batting out of that leadoff spot, which he started doing on the 20th of July. And since then has been amazing out of that spot. 294 average is certainly good, maybe not great, but a 400 on base percentage, slugging .647 with 3 home runs and 8 runs scored out of the top spot in the lineup. As this one is sent out to left field, Dietrich is back at the wall, and he adds another homer out of the leadoff spot. It's 1-0 Atlanta.
Well, last night Acuna got a center cut fastball and drove it out to center field. It was a good swing. It was a ball that was a little bit up. This one up as well. Acuna does a nice job getting on top. Look at the miss. You see JT's glove low and away. This misses up and in right about the belt. Acuna does not miss it. His 11th home run of the season. Kind of going back to the Duvall acquisition. I mean, when you talk about home runs hit by right-handed hitters in the Braves, and I tell you that Acuna's got 11 and that he's leading the team in right-handed home runs, it gets your attention.
So an early deficit for Straley and the Marlins as Ozzie Albies takes outside. 2 balls and no strikes to Albies again, who for the first just about 4 months, 3.5 months, I suppose, of the season was in that leadoff spot. Tweaked his hamstring, gave way to Acuna Jr., but now hitting in the 2-hole, hitting .305 in the second spot in the lineup for Brian Snitker. So that's kind of been the story of this team. Overall, maybe there have been some ups and downs, but for the most part, a very consistent offense for the Braves.
Talk about consistency, particularly the top part of the lineup. I mean, between Acuna and Albies, they go back and forth. He's hit hard to first. Rojas able to make the play all by himself. First out of this ballgame. Here's your Marlins defense for tonight. Dietrich gets the start in left, Sierra in center, Anderson over in right, Prado, Riddle, Castro, and Rojas. JT Realmuto behind the plate. Saw Rojas over at first make the last play. This is his 3rd start of the season at first base.
Freddie Freeman with a base hit up the middle. Boy, do his eyes light up when he sees the Marlins on the other side of the field. He is now 19 for 41. 10 runs scored, 6 homers, 11 RBIs against the Marlins.
Well, so much of the damage that Freddie Freeman does is early in the count. He knows that a lot of the better strikes that he's going to get are early, and he's always ready to swing the bat. We see him do it just about every night, swing early in the count. That's a first pitch breaking ball that he was all over from Straley.
11 pitches in, Braves up 1-0 after the first career leadoff home run for Ronald Acuna Jr. Now Nick Markakis will take a strike on the outside edge. Markakis 0 for 4 last night. Also had his 16-game on-base streak snapped. Markakis has been really good at home this year, too, hitting .324. I mean, home, road, doesn't really matter. He's having a terrific season, .317 overall. But something of a renaissance year this year for Nick Markakis in the last year of his deal. An all-star for the first time. And this year he's you know, it's not out of the ordinary what he's doing this year. He's just kind of gotten back to what he was doing in Baltimore.
Well, and I think what's helping the cause is that he's doing it for a team that's contending. You know, all eyes on the Braves, and he seems to be at the forefront of many of these conversations. He's first in the National League in hits. He's first in multi-hit games. He's leading the league in doubles as well, and he plays every day. And I think the pairing with him and Freeman, how many times have we mentioned this year? Well, Markakis and Freeman, boy, they handle lefties well. You know what I mean? It's like under all circumstances, these two have really gotten the job done all season.
And the two veterans in this lineup that have anchored this Braves team.
Neither's missed a game.
Rain continues to fall here. That's why you see Dan Straley trying to get some of the clay out of his spikes on the mound. Sharply hit and past Castro into right center field. Freeman makes the turn. Here's the throw from right. And it makes it all the way to third. Gets caught up with Freeman. It gets away from Prado, and the Braves have runners on first and third.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of exit velocity here in the bottom of the first inning. I'll tell you what, Markakis, this is a rocket. He gets all over that changeup, and Castro gets just a piece of it. Just enough to slow it down, which makes the route for Anderson far enough to allow Freeman to get into third base. Markakis not able to move up. But a jam here in inning number 1. The Braves already up by 1.
Here's Kurt Suzuki. He's 3 for 19 this year against the Marlins. Did not start last night. It was Tyler Flowers. And they called strike 2 Suzuki.
Suzuki struggling a little bit over his last 11 games. Just a $150.
Right back to Straley. Throws to second. Runner comes home. And they double up Suzuki. So excellent work there, as even though he tried to freeze Freeman, it still goes down as a DP. 1-0. run, a leadoff home run, in fact. First of his career, gets the Braves on the board as we are through one here at a rainy SunTrust Park. The game started an hour and a half late. 1:27 to be exact, but we are underway. It's still raining here. Hopefully we'll not have any more delays as the day goes along, as Derek Dietrich leads things off, and that one misses for ball one. It's Dietrich, Miguel Rojas, and JT Riddle against Colby Allard in his major league debut. Excuse me, swing on a couple of hops to Camargo, and it almost pulls Freeman off the bag, but an out nonetheless.
Join the Marlins on Saturday, August 11th, as they take on the Mets. Arrive early to get your hands on a Marlins tropical jersey presented by DR Tourism. Purchase your tickets today at marlins.com/giveaways.
Bring up Miguel Rojas. As we were waiting for the first pitch, we were on the air. We heard from Jessica Blaylock about the terrific drainage system here at this new ballpark. You hear about that a lot at the new yards. I mean, I know you played at some of the old ones. You probably couldn't, the ballparks couldn't take on as much water as we saw throughout the day today. From what time did it start? Roughly 2:30 to 7 o'clock ish in that window. 4.5 hours of heavy rain, and play a game at 9 o'clock.
The best way for fans to understand is, you're right, there's a state-of-the-art drainage system under every major league field now in the game. But the point is this: there was water on top. That's how hard it was coming down. It was coming down so hard and so fast that even the drainage system couldn't take it all at the exact same time. You know, usually you'll see a rain like this where it just continually rains. You notice the dirt doesn't look like it's been raining. Miguel Rojas wanted time, was not awarded it.
That's up to the home plate umpire. And on the next pitch, a ground ball to second base for the second out. Exchanges words with Jansen Visconti, the home plate umpire tonight. Dan Bellino at first, Adam Hamari at second, and Phil Cuzzy, the crew chief, is over at third. The Ram game break comes your way in the 7th inning. It'll be Craig Minervini, Tommy Hutton coming up. Put the coffee pot on, gentlemen. 9:21 right now. They're coming up in the 7th. Could be a while. JT Riddle takes a called strike. Riddle looking to snap out of a little bit of a funk. Cut on and missed. Also looking for his first hit against the Braves this season, albeit in 6 at-bats. Was 0 for 1 last night as a pinch hitter. In the dirt and blocked by Suzuki. A ball and 2 strikes.
And what we've seen from Allard so far is the ability to put that fastball on both sides of the plate, just as the scouting report has said. I'll tell you what, he works pretty quick, very deliberate.
I mean, young pitcher, 20 years old. I would wonder, and just out of human nature, I'm sure he'd be told by about 15 people not to worry about it, but almost to say, well, let's work quick in case the rain comes back. Like, it's not your problem, kid. Who knows? He gets through this inning rather quickly, setting the Marlins down in order. 1-0 Braves. Jr. leadoff home run in the first. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Miami Marlins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. Johan Camargo takes a breaking ball that doesn't break outside. 1-0 from Dan Straley. It's Camargo, Inciarte, and Swanson. Of course, we talked a little bit yesterday leading up to today's trade deadline that there had been some rumors or rumblings, or however you want to characterize chatter, that maybe the Braves would be active looking for a third baseman. Adrian Beltre's name had been thrown around a couple of weeks ago, maybe Mike Moustakas before he ended up with the Milwaukee Brewers. But I would think that Brian Snitker and the coaching staff has got to be incredibly pleased with what they've gotten from Johan Camargo the last 2 months.
And it's a good point, Paul. You know, when a team is in the position that the Atlanta Braves are in, we talked a little bit about this last night, the idea that you're also growing some of your younger players. Let's remember this. Let's say they did do that. Let's say they went out and got Moustakas. Camargo, maybe moves over to short, and then Swanson comes off the field, or Camargo comes off the field. Nice job by Dan Straley putting him away there for out number 1 in the bottom of the second. So, you know, you find yourself in some situations, as organizations a lot of times will do with their younger players. Do we trust the process that's going on? Now listen, Dansby Swanson has been fantastic defensively this year, but offensively, well, a little bit below par is probably the best way to put it. You could argue that moving Camargo over and taking Swanson off the field maybe makes you better for the next 2 months. But what about growing this young man up and helping him understand and learn what August and September and games that matter are like?
Ender Inciarte with a base hit into center field. A 1-out knock for Inciarte. Well, Inciarte, another one of those guys where it sounds like perhaps his playing time may get cut into a little bit as these 2 months go along, with Adam Duvall added to the mix now. Add a little right-handed pop. We'll see how it goes. I mean, listen, it's up to Brian Snitker and the staff, but Duvall's an outfielder. Inciarte's an outfielder. Markakis isn't coming out, and probably not Acuna either. So,
yeah, that's interesting. Inciarte, a notorious second-half player, off to a pretty good start here post All-Star break, hitting above 300 once again. And the numbers had been down, but you also have to take a Gold Glove center fielder off the field. Depth is a good problem and a bad problem. Certainly the Braves, I think, aren't complaining when they've got multiple answers.
Fouled away by Swanson. It was 0 for 2 yesterday. Dodgers in town against the Braves prior to the Marlins, so a 1 for 10 homestand so far for Swanson. Does have a home run and 4 RBIs this year against the Marlins, however.
It'll be interesting to see how base runners react tonight. Braves did a fantastic job, at least by our standards, of taking care of this infield as best they could with all the rain. Inciarte leads the Braves with 23 stolen bases.
And the rain has let up from where it was about 20 minutes ago. It hasn't stopped, but it's gotten back into that, at least from what I can tell, that drizzle mist type rain. I suppose that is a good thing, though. It's 9:28 right now, and when we got to the ballpark, we thought maybe there'd be a window at about 10. So hopefully we're in the clear the rest of the night. Literally. On the ground, Prado, Castro. That'll be a fielder's choice as Swanson will reach. We've already seen 2 double plays end innings tonight.
I'll tell you what, it's a pretty slick turn. They almost pulled it off. Swanson obviously gets down the line pretty quick. He does just beat the throw. Prado, nice job. Remember, every throw on the infield, especially like that, is a wet baseball. You factor in speed. It's a pretty nifty turn.
So the first big league at bat for Colby Allard, who was 1 for 39 in his minor league career.
Well, if that's the case, would you have him at 1 for 39?
Yes.
Yeah, well, that is definitely not Glavine-esque. Tom took great pride in being able to handle the bat, and I'm sure he will learn about that if, in fact, he wants to stick around here at the big league level in the National League.
Yeah, I think it was just the pitching side of things that they were referring to, but who knows? Maybe it was the total package. Yeah, he did win the Silver Slugger 4 times.
Now, I know my pitchers who can hit because of defensive placement.
That's right.
Where you stand for certain ones and you stand for others.
I'm backing up quite a bit here, Skip, don't you think?
Of course.
There's a base hit over the leaping try of Castro. Slipping in right center field is Anderson, and the Braves have runners on the corners. The first big league hit for Allard. All right, so maybe he is Tom Glavine.
Well, he's hitting 1,000. He might as well just stop now.
I'm with you.
There you go. First base coach Eric Young giving him a little grief.
Back to the top of the order, Ronald Acuna Jr. had a home run that just barely cleared the wall in left field. His 11th on the season. First career leadoff home run.
One thing Dan Straley has been able to do very well this season is wiggle out of trouble. We've already seen it once in this ball game. He's had 5 hits, excuse me, first time through that lineup.
And the first hit produced a run.
Elevated fastball. Dan does not like to go up there too often, but when he does, he's looking for a strikeout. That was a misfire right there, and Acuna got it.
Into the Marlins bullpen in left field. But Straley's got him set up now, 0-2. Perfect pitch right on the edge, and a big strikeout for Straley as he gets Acuna and strands a couple of Braves through 2, 1-0.
Marlins fans, now you can stream games live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go, presented by Coors. Download the app and take Fox Sports Florida and Marlins baseball wherever you go.
Colby Allard with his first big league start, his first big league hit, but was stranded. Of course, a busy day in Marlins land. Brad Ziegler off to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Cameron Maybin off to the Seattle Mariners. Teheran Guerrero has been returned from a rehab assignment. Carlin Garcia is back, as is Isaac Galloway. I shouldn't say back for Isaac Galloway. He's here for the first time. He's been in the organization for a number of years, and when he makes his first appearance in a big league game, it'll be his major league debut. Not sure if he's here yet. He was there was some weather delays, believe it or not, with him getting to town, but they hope that he'd be here right around first pitch. But certainly, if we'll see him, we'll try to get some video.
I'm excited for him. You always get excited for those who put in just incredible amounts of time in the minor leagues to get here. He is one of those individuals.
Hey, there's Magnaori Sierra with a base hit to lead things off here in the third.
Let's take another quick look. Good swing on a fastball right there. Rips it through the hole on the right side. Start to this third inning.
So a bunt situation here for Dan Straley. And a called strike.
Dan's been doing a very nice job this year handling the bat. See, only the one sacrifice bunt. I think he would tell you he needs to work on that a little bit more, but he's been doing a pretty good job of getting on base. In fact, he's gotten on base in 6 straight games. 5 walks and 4 hits. He could actually get a .333 on base percentage.
Well, he joked about it after the last time around that he doesn't want to get made fun of anymore. He wants to get some hits and carry his weight offensively. Here his job is to lay it down. Does a terrific job there as Suzuki throws to Albies. And up to second base is Sierra, 1 away. So it is Pablo Lopez and Anibal Sanchez. Tomorrow, again, weather permitting here in Atlanta, but on the air at 7 o'clock Eastern Time with the Marlins Live pregame show, and then first pitch a little after 7:30. One on, one out for Starlin Castro. First pitch swinging to Albies at second base. And Sierra up to third with 2 down. And just to finish the thought on Galloway, who was called up today, originally drafted by the then Florida Marlins in the 8th round in 2008. And will be his first big league action. So congratulations to him. He was at 262 this year at AAA New Orleans. Here's Brian Anderson. Anderson with a base hit in his first at-bat. That hit in the first inning came off the bat at 107 miles per hour. The Florida Lottery in-game jackpot shows you how many hard-hit baseballs off the bat of Brian Anderson, 95 miles an hour or more. Those are top 2. Nick Markakis at 154 and Brian Anderson 143. They're National League leaders.
Well, the way to put that is, if Brian Anderson has Nick Markakis' career, the Marlins will be thrilled. Bats like that don't grow on trees.
But here, another part of his game that the Marlins like is patience. He walks, and there are runners on the corners for 2 outs. Well, now in a day and age where we can measure exit velocity, you know, 5-10 years ago, you'd say, well, he barreled that one up. Well, now there are kind of numbers to support that. And from what I mean, you knew this going way back, but even now you can see the numbers, and the high exit velocities are the guys that you want. The hits will fall in. They'll become doubles. They'll become home runs.
What you're talking about is consistently barreling up. Anderson does that an awful lot, as does Markakis.
as has Real Muto quite a bit this year. He popped up for the first out in the first inning, and now bats with 2 men on here in the third. And for Allard, his big league start, his first big league start at 20 years, 352 days old. And the second youngest starter to pitch in the major leagues this season. Only his teammate Mike Soroka, who debuted at 20 years, 270 days, has pitched in a game younger than Allard. We've heard so much the last few years about the stacked farm system of the Braves. Certainly have seen them. These guys now, I don't want to say established superstars, but certainly having terrific seasons. Acuna, an everyday player making an impact. Of course, Ozzie Albies, Dansby Swanson, and now Allard, Soroka, Newcomb. That wave of young pitching here in Atlanta as well. 3-1. Check that, 3-2. Seven of the last 9 pitches have been outside the zone. Payoff pitch misses upstairs, and the Marlins have the bases loaded for Martin Prado.
I know Allard has had tremendous success in the minor leagues, not only this year, but really throughout his minor league career. Obviously, this is his first big league start tonight. I'm sure nerves are a big part of this, but I've mentioned a number of times we've seen a lot of young pitching this year. Big league hitters, they don't chase nearly as much as the minor leaguers do. That's one thing that you kind of pick up on. You've got to be on your game, and the ability to put the fastball where you need to is a big part of succeeding at the major league level. Saw that through the Anderson at bat, the Real Muto at bat as well.
Saw that about 3.5 to 1 strikeout to walks in the minor leagues. Back-to-back walks, the 2 that he's got tonight. We'll see if the Marlins can even things up or perhaps add more as Prado takes upstairs. 1-1. Martin grounded into an inning-ending double play in the first inning. Shied away from moments like this. A .400 hitter with 2 outs and runners in scoring position this season. 1-2. Right side. Freeman will get it to Allard, who steps on the bag. And the youngster works out of trouble in the third. Marlins leave him loaded. Braves lead 1-0.
4-0 in the bottom of the third. Ozzy Albies due up for the Braves. Albies originally born and raised in Willemstad, Curacao, and that leads us to tonight's Toyota Trend. Braves who were originally born in Curacao. That list starts with Andrew Jones. It includes Randall Simon, Jair Jurgens, Andrelton Simmons, and of course, Ozzy Albies. Now guys, 20 players in the history of the game have hailed from either the Netherlands or the Dutch Antilles. Guys, this really is a sport that has a global appeal.
It absolutely is. Thanks, Jessica. As Albies leads off and swings through the first offering from Dan Straley. It's Albies, Freeman, and Markakis. And we saw it again. I always go back to the World Baseball Classic, but that's when you can, truly see who is from where, representing, where they came from. And the Kingdom of the Netherlands went on a nice run last WBC.
Right. And what I would add to it is my former teammate kind of being at the top of that list, Andrew Jones. It's so important. We talk about the international flavor of the game of baseball, but when your players get there, that they succeed. And boy, did Andrew Jones succeed. What that does in your home country, I want to be what Andrew Jones is. I want to do what he does. I want to hit a couple home runs in my first World Series game. Things like that. Go out and win a couple Gold Gloves in center field and be a huge part of this Braves organization.
Here's a look at Andrew Jones, and before guys like Acuna, youngsters. I mean, this guy hit 2 home runs in a World Series game when he was a teenager.
That's right. Tell you what, and he was an absolute beast in center field. He was one of the first guys I really saw that was brave enough to play shallow. So many of us, really trained, with the idea that, well, you're faster going forward than you are going back, so you side deep as opposed to shallow. Andrew said, I'm going to take the hits away shallow, and if you think you can get one over my head, good luck.
There is Freddie Freeman with another base hit past the dive of Starlin Castro. 1 on and 1 out. Yet another hit for Freeman. So in steps Nick Markakis. Markakis with the base hit. He went back-to-back with Freeman in the first inning. That one misses outside, a ball and no strikes. And we talked a lot about the trade deadline today, and certainly Dan Straley's name was in the mix, so I don't know where his head was at today between trade deadlines and rumors and rain and everything else. But certainly a seasoned vet who was coveted by a few teams. He knows what he's doing. He can navigate, I'm sure, is the moral of that story. And we're just talking about Andrew Jones, and we showed you the numbers. I'm just trying to find what the voting percent was on Jones, because I knew it was low, and I thought he was close to being kicked off the ballot, in my opinion, quite unfairly. You have to get at least 5% to be back on the ballot. He only got 7.3%, which I think is. I think he's a debatable Hall of Famer. You really have to dive into the numbers. Terrific defensively. But I don't think he was like a on it for a year and off of it kind of player, if that makes any sense. I think he deserves a longer look. That's where I'm going.
Well, he has a stretch throughout his career, 98 through 07. He was third best when we factor in WAR in baseball, ahead of Chipper Jones.
Is that right?
Just saying. Just behind Barry and A-Rod.
Wow. I think one of the other ones that was very questionable that didn't even get a second look, Johan Santana, only got 2.4% of the vote in his first year on the ballot. You look at the career that Santana had, my goodness. Three balls and two strikes to Nick Markakis. Runner on the move. Markakis with a drive out to right field. Anderson is back, and that one is gone. A two-run home run for Nick Markakis. The Braves extend their lead. It's 3-0.
Markakis has been on a roll this homestand. He's one of the few Braves that really has been kind of cranking since the start of the homestand. He had a good series against the Dodgers for yesterday, but boy oh boy has responded today. 11th home run on Sunday, 12th home run right there. Fastball low and in, gets all over it. Short, quick, compact swing. He's got those loose hands. He doesn't hold the bat tight. Holds it almost like about 50%, and then you see that acceleration through the zone. Boy oh boy, line to line.
Well, the two home runs that Straley has surrendered tonight, the one to Acuna Jr. and the one to Markakis, both barely got out. They got out nonetheless as Rojas makes the play in foul ground, and there are two outs.
We've seen two more home runs tonight. I'm not sure who to believe anymore. We got here and everybody was telling me, oh, nobody's hitting any home runs at SunTrust. Ball's not flying out of here. The Braves, Marlins even jumped in on that party last night. Seems to me that the ball's been jumping the last two nights.
It has. It's a little cooler, though. I don't know if that plays into it at all.
Well, I think I was looking through my notes through, what was it, starting at June 18th. Only half a home run a game.
There have been two tonight, both for the Braves, who lead it 3-0.
With the Marlins Flex 4-pack. They customize a plan to save on individual game pricing and lock in priority access to giveaways. Starting at just $20, you can get the Flex 4-pack by visiting marlins.com/flex4 today.
Derek Dietrich to lead things off as he takes a called strike on the inside corner. It's Dietrich, Rojas, and Riddle against the youngster Allard. Dietrich with a ground ball to lead things off in the second inning. That was a 1-2-3 frame for Allen. Derek Dietrich hit by a pitch.
It's easy to beat the heat when you become an energy-saving expert. Go to fpl.com/beattheheat.
16th time this season that Dietrich has been hit by a pitch. And now 88. Most in club history. Just keeps extending the record. One on for Miguel Rojas. In there for a called strike. Braves at the start of the day, a half game back of the Philadelphia Phillies, who are in Boston. They currently lead the Red Sox 2-1 in the bottom of the 8th inning. Elsewhere in the National League East, the Washington Nationals, who, just Brandon Kinsler to the Cubs, I believe, was the only move that they made, right?
Going for it.
A minor subtraction, right? Otherwise, they're going for it. And today, or tonight, rather, they went for it in a big way. They are up 19-1 right now at home against the New York Mets.
My goodness.
And you just pointed out to me that Jose Reyes is pitching right now.
It's brought to my attention that he has stepped up on the mound and has now turned himself into a pitcher.
Look at that. Nationals scored 7 in the first, and then 3, 3, 3, 3. Wow. Rojas down the left field line will reach the seats. If he straightens that out, it'd be his 8th home run of the season. His 6th and 7th came in the same game here in Atlanta on May 20th, a 2-home run game. Hit a home run off of Lucas Sims and A.J. Minter. Lucas Sims involved in a trade earlier today. Off the end of the bat, poke to second base. Albies bobbles it, and they'll call Dietrich out at second. Don Mattingly will check in with the video room to see whether or not Albies had control of it as he crossed over second base.
Well, everything's clean there except for the transfer. No, he didn't have it.
No, sir, Bob.
That's not even close. He's still a good step away when he tries to transfer it with his glove to his hand.
The Marlins are going to challenge. Headsets are falling apart. Yeah, Albies did not have control of the baseball when he stepped on the bag. I mean, that was...
just watch Double D. He's heading back out to second base. That's all you got to pay attention to. He's decided that he's good. I love it. The umpires aren't finished. They're still on headset.
Well, they're
Dietrich's heading back out.
Broken headsets, but they're on them.
Well, either way, but I mean, you can't tell me that's not funny.
Of course it is. It's very funny.
They're waiting. He's like, no, I'm going to go back out now.
Yeah. That and Dietrich ripped his pants, so he better get something out of it. And this won't take long at all. And the runner is safe. So we'll go down as a fielder's choice and an E4. And a new pair of pants for Mr. Dietrich. So JT Riddle is in as in the box, that is, as the tying run here in the 4th inning. 2 on, nobody out. This one ripped through the right side, a base hit. Dietrich is around third. He will come in to score. Rojas on his way to third is in there, and now Riddle out at second. But he'll get credit for the RBI on the base hit that scored Dietrich. Make this a 3-1 game.
Yeah, good swing by JT. He had been struggling, really looking for something early to drive. Gets a fastball out over the plate. Rips it through the right side. Gets Dietrich across home. Rojas on his way to third. That's where Markakis goes. That high was throw, and that's what JT was reading. And he kind of come to a stop around first base and then tried to kick it back into gear when he saw the high throw, but not enough.
Corners play in against Sierra, who slaps one fair down the left field line. That's his second base hit of the game. It gets by Acuna, and easily to second base is Sierra, who has closed the gap to 3-2. First double in the career of Sierra.
How about line to line? How about against the lefty? Good for Sierra. Nice approach tonight. He is getting more comfortable at the plate. First fastball he gets, he lines it down the left field line. That ball deep in the zone.
He had 19 hits last season with the Cardinals, all singles. First extra base hit in his career. And he brings home a run. And now Straley smacks it foul. Marlins answering back with 2 runs in this 4th inning against the youngster Allard, making his major league debut. The inning started with a Derek Dietrich hit by pitch. Rojas reached on a play that the Marlins challenged on a ground ball to second base, bobbled by Albies. And a terrific challenge by the Marlins to help extend the inning a little bit, and ultimately the runner scored. A strikeout Straley, and they're 2 away. Coming up tomorrow, South Florida Honda dealers present Marlins Live, the pregame show. Craig Minervini, Tommy Hutton, and Gabby Sanchez in the studio. Pablo Lopez and Anibal Sanchez, the 2 starting pitchers tomorrow night. On the air at 7 with the pregame show. First pitch a little after 7:30. And after that, off to Philadelphia for a 4-game set. Castro takes outside, 1-0. Castro sends this one out to right center field. Ranging over a step or 2 on the track is Inciarte to make the catch, but the Marlins get 2 on the board. First double in the career of Sierra. 3-2. Baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. The Cleveland Clinic. Stiff joints, aches, and pains. Trust Cleveland Clinic, Florida, the #1 orthopedic care in Florida. and by Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. Dan Straley heads back to the mound with his club now down a run as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. Face Ender Inciarte, Dansby Swanson, and Kobe Allard. Now a 1-run game after the Marlins get a couple. Certainly don't mean to pile on, but things seem to be getting worse in Washington, D.C. now. When last we left you, it was 19-1 Washington.
Yeah, they picked up a field goal and a safety late in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, they did. It is now 24-1. Jose Reyes now has a career ERA of 135.
At least he can say he pitched. I think many of us kind of dreamed that we would ever get the opportunity to do it. Most of us don't get it.
Right. Yeah. Two balls and 2 strikes to Inciarte. Fouls that one off.
I almost feel like with the Nationals, it was, guys, I mean, if I needed to threaten you all with trading you all to get you to respond like this, I would have done it sooner.
We've done it May 5th.
That's right.
Time called before the pitch. Now, of course, you know, we joke and we assume, because again, the Marlins have been in this situation a couple of times this season where it just isn't your night. It's just, you know, you're kind of getting your butts kicked. There's been a lot of times this season where there have been position players on the mound. Where do you stand on that in a general sense? Like, haha, it's funny, you lose the game, but you leave the ballpark maybe with a smile on your face, or it's not good for the game? Well,
it's a developing trend. I mean, we're definitely seeing a lot more of it. I think, what was it, a game in Chicago?
Rip past Rojas and down the line. Inciarte is trotting into second base. Not sure if a fan got a hand on that or not. I mean, if a fan got his hand on it, or her hand, it's still just 2 bases. Inciarte could feasibly have been on third, right? Oh, they called it foul. I'm sorry. I thought it was clearly fair, but what do I know? That's why I was.
Well, what was interesting is that Inciarte ran by first as he's making his turn, saw that the ball was called foul, it kept going.
Yeah,
he was like, I don't believe you.
That's the thing. I didn't even think to look at the umpire. I thought it was so fair.
Well, watch Inciarte, right? See, that's what caught my attention, and I think the ball is fair as well. But you see the foul call. Now watch Inciarte. He's like, I'm not taking. No, I'm just gonna keep going.
Oh, yeah. Well, here's the thing. The first base umpire, Dan Bellino, had to duck out of the way of the ball, and by the time it landed, he hadn't turned around yet.
Right.
But that's where I got fouled up, because I thought it was so clearly fair. I was watching the ball, and then I looked back at Inciarte, and he's got his arms up like, oh, a fan hit it. But yeah, called foul, but I can't imagine this is going to take too long, much like the Marlins challenge.
I don't know, man. We've had a couple down the line this year. Remember, there was one early on this season that you and I were pretty convinced. I can't remember if it was fair or foul, whatever, but it got called the other direction.
Yeah. Second challenge of the night. Trying to get another look here as crew chief Phil Cuzzy. There's going to be a double for Inciarte.
Sorry, but Inciarte's reaction to this was priceless. You see, first base coach Eric Young, he's got his arm pointed to the left. The umpire hasn't even been able to turn around yet because he's ducking.
Right.
And that's understandable. I mean, you've got to play the ball's going right over your head, but you spin around, right? So you see the foul call? Inciarte around first base to me was hysterical. Because normally when you see the foul call, you just stop in your tracks like the play is dead. Inciarte's like, I'm just going to keep going.
Now I don't feel so bad. We're getting confused. I mean, had to be 6 inches fair. Anyway, we play on. Here's Dansby Swanson. That one clearly foul. 0-1. Swanson reached on a fielder's choice back in the second inning. So a game that was delayed by an hour and 27 minutes before the first pitch. It's already been delayed by 2 calls that have been overturned, thankfully. Swanson fouls it back. Australia approaching 60 pitches here with 1 on and nobody out in the bottom of the 4th inning. Ball 1 to Swanson. The last time out, Australia faced the Washington Nationals, and that's at that time had won their 7th straight at Marlins Park. But that start ended a string of 5 consecutive quality starts for Australia. Allie, I think you threw out the numbers earlier, but the last 6 starts for Dan, 2-1 with a 3.08 ERA. So certainly found a rhythm the last month or so.
This is the first start in quite some time where Dan's really had to work hard, especially with runners in scoring position. He's done a nice job this season, only a .215 batting average against, but my oh my, the ball has been coming off the bat for the Atlanta Braves. Dan has been able to keep this in check, relatively speaking.
From 0-2 to 3-2. Third time tonight that Australia has found himself in a full count. Here it comes to Swanson. This one popped up behind home plate. Realmuto set up low and away. That one missed up and in.
And his fastball command has not been, as usual, outstanding. It's certainly what it's been coming into tonight, but you're right, it's been off. Two home runs now in his last 2 starts.
Now this one toward right center field, and Anderson's not going to get there. Swanson will stop at second with an RBI double. It's 4-2 Atlanta.
Well, 9th hit for the Braves, 4th extra base hit tonight against Dan Straley. Swanson stays strong on that backside, drives it into right center field. Braves are at it once again.
That is 50 career doubles for Dansby Swanson. Bring up Colby Allard, who had his first big league hit back in the 1st inning. I'll check that in the 2nd inning, his first at bat. Corners creeping in as Allard bunts it back to the screen. 0-1. One more look at his first big league hit. It's a clean single.
Sure is. Really got a good fastball to hit. That's the one he wants to swing at. Just got it through the middle. Probably a little bit more about Dan Straley tonight. Bottom of the 4th, nobody out. He's already given up 9 hits. We've mentioned exit velocity a few too many times.
And Rojas has a tough time picking it up. could hear him calling Straley off, but kind of just kept rolling, and then all of a sudden, Straley and Rojas got tangled up.
Now let's take another look. And the bunt is down. Rojas wants it, but he kind of has to go around Dan once he does not field the ball. I think Rojas is still thinking about third. He wants to have a play at third, but unable to field it. And bobbles it a number of times.
So it'll be a sacrifice and an E3. And the Braves have runners on the corners as the raindrops begin to fall again here at SunTrust Park. Acuna Jr. Runners on the corners, nobody out. A home run to lead off the ball game for Atlanta. Fouls it back. Acuna Jr., a .341 hitter this year with runners in scoring position. Marlins have 3 men on the left side of the infield against the youngster. He takes the ball inside, 1-2. Well, never mind the quality starts that I mentioned before. Last start against the Nats ended a string of 5 straight. How about working at least 6 innings? He'd done so each of his last 5 starts. He'd gone 7 twice in that stretch. Rain beginning to pick up even more here at SunTrust Park. StatCast AI, powered by AWS, the distribution of balls in play on the ground and the infield off the bat of Acuna Jr. Doesn't really test that right side of the infield that often, so that's why Starlin Castro on the shortstop side of the second base bag.
We've seen him hit balls at the top of the zone with authority.
Called strike 3.
Man really trying to stay down, both down and in and down and away. Acuna certainly don't want to miss up in the zone again. Don't want to no part of that one. A little bit off that inside corner. Sometimes it's hard to tell when the rain's coming down.
Here's Albies. Takes the ball upstairs. Grounded out in the first, struck out in the third. Now 3 for 19, 6 strikeouts since that couple of days off that he had. Close to about a week as he had tweaked his hamstring. This one lifted out to left field. Coming in is Dietrich, and he's not going to get there. It falls in. And a run will score. 5-2 Atlanta.
Well, Albies doesn't hit it hard. He hits it up, and he hits it in that little Bermuda Triangle, as I call it, on both corners. There's no man's land. Dietrich a long way to go from where he started. Really no shot at catching this. Same could be said for Riddle. Swanson scores, now a 5-2 ball game.
And out to the mound, the pitching coach Juan Nieves. Australia had really figured things out, and it could have been kind of hearkening back to the olden days, right? Like so long ago. But earlier in his career, when he had more of a sinking two-seam fastball, not including tonight, which has been a rougher outing than he's had recently, as Javi Guerra is up. Starting with the start against the Diamondbacks on June 25th, he started using that sinking two-seam fastball to help get him out of trouble. Of course, one thing leads to the next. It all starts with fastball command, which maybe he hasn't had his best tonight, as Freddie Freeman swings at the first pitch and misses. Freeman, a couple of hits tonight, a run scored. But Straley thought he needed to do something. His first 5 starts, he was 0-3 with a 7.20 ERA. They get a check on Allard at second, but he's back. So he was 0-3 with a 7.20 ERA and a .313 batting average against in his first 5 starts. Then he was ejected from the game in San Francisco on June 19th. Since then, again not including tonight, 6 starts, 2-1 with a batting average against a little under 200. Freeman to left center field. Sierra will make the play. So Straley decided to try the new pitch. He said, enough's enough. Season wasn't going the way I wanted it to go. Two out for Nick Markakis. A 2-run home run in the 3rd inning.
Markakis hitting .269 on the season with runners in scoring position, but boy, oh boy, he dials it up late with 2 outs, hitting .345.
Another multi-hit game for Nick Markakis. Started the day with the most hits in the National League. He's added to it. Straley has worked hard, approaching 30 pitches here in this 4th inning. To load the bases. That'll bring up Kurt Suzuki. First walk of the night for Straley.
Well, it's not a bad idea, Paul. The situation certainly looks worse now that you've walked Markakis, but Suzuki, the colder of the 2 hitters. 0 for 2 tonight.
Down the left field line. That might clear him. Being waved around. And in to score is Markakis. A bases-clearing double for Kurt Suzuki. Has opened it up for the Braves, who lead it 8-2. Don Mattingly out to the mound. That's going to do it for Straley. The Florida Lottery called to the bullpen here at SunTrust Park. Braves in front 8-2. Fourth inning, Braves have opened it up. 5 runs in thus far. The new Monopoly jackpot scratch-offs from the Florida Lottery are a new spin on a classic. They're loaded with prizes from $10,000 to $2 million. So unleash the excitement anytime. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. More runs with 2 outs, Holly.
Oh, my goodness. 71, I mean, look at this. It's 56% of their runs. I mean, this is absolutely just incredible. 40 runs against the Marlins this year with 2 outs. And look at the batting average, 444. I tell you, want to talk about complicating things.
Javi Guerra in 9th game for him this year. He'll face Johan Camargo. Chops one to the right side. Castro up with it. 1 pitch, and the inning is over. But the Braves score 5. an 8-2 lead for Atlanta. Let's check in with Jessica Blaylock.
Hey, Paul, tonight it is a Twitter and email Tuesday, and we're going with the hashtag MLB trades. And as part of the festivities, we have a Twitter poll that we want you to participate in. Which trade will be the most impactful for the respective team? Will it be Manny Machado to LA, Adam Duvall to Atlanta, Mike Moustakas to Milwaukee, or Nate Eovaldi to Boston? As you can see, Machado to LA leading the way right now. Guys, which trade do you think will be most impactful?
That is a terrific question, and my question would be, were we limited to 4? Because there were a lot of trades.
As far as the Twitter question is concerned, we are.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. There was just a lot of big deals going down there. I mean, I guess I would vote for Machado.
Yeah, I think so. It's really going to be, the difference maker. And you even think the storyline that kind of goes along with it, they lost Seager. So that's what they're used to seeing at short. That's the type of production that they were accustomed to. They lost that. Now they were able to kind of move pieces around and kind of survive until Machado arrived. But now it's like back to business as usual with Machado giving them at least Seager-like production.
Right. Brian Anderson leads things off. Ahead in the count 2-1. This one is sent out to right field. Markakis underneath it for the first out. But I mean, it was a busy day today. It was a busy trade season. Machado traded right around the All-Star break, so I guess we can call that a couple of weeks ago. Zach Britton was on the move. Mike Moustakas, Jonathan Scope, Chris Archer. I mean, all kinds of stuff. I mean, to break down the trade deadline, try to do it in a graphic, I suppose. Try to. See if we can whip something up. Like something that we're about to whip up. Holly, hang with me, okay? I can't do two things at once.
I'm suspended in air. Thank goodness you didn't tell me to hold my breath. Would have passed out already.
Line down the right field line. Foul. 2 balls and a strike. You want it? You got it. Toyota inside look. There were 85 players moved, 36 minor leaguers, 29 teams involved. Only the San Francisco Giants did not make any trades. The other kind of underlying theme, and the Marlins were involved in this too, was the international pool money. That was
that was actually kind of more of the one.
That was the buzzword.
Well, anybody, you're right. If you certainly understand those circumstances that surround that, that changed directions at least. I counted what, 5 or 6 different times.
Right. Real Muto with a drive out to left field. This one hit a ton. JT with a solo home run.
Number 14 on the season for JT. I'll tell you what, Marlins needed that. It's been a tough game and a half here. The rain and the delay and everything else that's been going on along bottom of the 4th. Great swing by JT, great extension. Let's check it out one more time. Center cut fastball, thigh high. He did not miss it. My goodness.
Well, if you're going to give up your first big league home run, might as well be to the best catcher in the game. Now 8-3 here in the 5th.
Well, he likes hitting at SunTrust Park. He's got a hit in his last 6 games, hitting well above 400. 3 doubles, a couple triples, a homer, 6 RBIs. Make that 7 RBIs.
And now Prado out to right field, and it's going to be Markakis making the sliding catch. JT Realmuto, a projected 434 feet. About 107 off the bat. As Dietrich takes a called strike. Hit by a pitch, came around to score in the 4th inning. This one out to left center field. Acuna Jr. is there. Well, outside the home run, a rather quick inning for Allard, but he did give up a dinger to Real Muto. It is 8-3 here in Atlanta. Run for Real Muto closes the gap. It is 8-3, and look who's here. Isaac Galloway with a huge smile on his face, and good for him. When he sees action, it will be his first big league action. I mean, again, a long wait for the young man, and glad to have him here.
Well, happy to report we waited for him.
Exactly.
In an odd sort of way. Should be no complaining. Certainly can't wait to see the young man get an opportunity to get out there on the field.
Again, an 8th round pick in 2008. Missed most of last year, sprained MCL in his knee. Just 49 games at 4 different levels of the Marlins minor league system. As Inciarte chases, and that's the first out of the inning. Of course, filling one of the roster spots opened up the trade of Cameron Maybin to the Seattle Mariners. And in fact, Don Mattingly, when asked about Isaac Galloway today, said he'll be used similarly in that role that Cameron Maybin was used. So some outfield spot, maybe some platooning. But yeah, it's going to take a while to wipe that smile off of his face after a number of years in the minor leagues.
Well deserved. Those are always the best stories. I mean, we love to tell the ones of the first rounders getting there, and it's, you know, of course there's some inevitability when it, you know, it comes around with the first and second rounders, if you know what I mean. But
sure,
when you've got somebody who's in a position where, you know, maybe their biological clock has kind of pushed them past the, you know, the point of prospect and, you know, to the point of, you know, journeyman minor leaguer holding on, you love to see them get that opportunity at the major league level. There's a number of guys that I played with in my career that got there late, and, you know, put together a nice little run at the major league level. That happens for Galloway.
There's a strike to Dansby Swanson. Ball and 2 strikes to the Braves shortstop. Reached on a fielder's choice in the second and an RBI double in the 4th. Well, Galloway was in the minor leagues for a while, and it makes you think of a couple of days ago when the Angels called up Francisco Arcia, who had 10 RBIs in his first 2 games after 12 years in the minor leagues.
That's an unbelievable story. He showed right up and just started hitting opportunity after opportunity, and he came through. I saw a little bit of that. It's actually good to see. Well, I hope he does the same thing. There you go.
Yeah, well, yeah, sure.
Take 10 RBIs after 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Right back up the middle, and Castro gets to it, but unable to get a handle on it. And Swanson will reach on a sharply hit infield single.
Now, tremendous effort. Starlin Castro once again. Wet conditions out there tonight. I think he even sticks a little bit as he tries to come to a stop. Able to hold on to the baseball. Valiant effort. May have even gotten a piece of Guerra. And you think all baseball players aren't hungry for every hit they get?
Of course. Jeez. You a head first slide guy, though?
Listen, I've gotten in this conversation a million different times, and it's, you know, people don't understand, and I'm not a head first slide guy. I don't like seeing guys get hurt.
Manfred lays it down. Guerra the flip for the second out.
Really, all I would say is this: people just, I mean, when you realize that you're fighting for a major league hit, that's what it means to that person. And as we all know, we run forward, our legs, our arms are following, right? Momentum takes us. That's how bad you want it. It's the idea. It's like falling on a loose ball in football. You can't control the reaction to the play, and I have a hard time explaining that to people. Guys are like, run through the bag, don't dive for the bag. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, but it overtakes you, and you want to fight for that hit.
Strike at the top of the zone from Guerra to Acuna Jr., who homered in the first inning and struck out twice since. Two pitch, a little high.
Good try by Guerra. That's where he was looking to go, just a bit up and in, trying to get in on those hands of Acuna. Straley tried there, missed to start this ball game.
Through a vacated right side of the infield because of the shift, it'll be another RBI for Acuna Jr. as Swanson scores to make it 9-3.
Sports with the most interesting man in sports. You get opinion that cuts through the hype. And speak for yourself with Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock, weekdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, only on FS1.
Upstairs to Albies. An RBI single in the fourth inning. Later came around to score in that 5-run frame for the Braves. Big cut and a miss, 1-1. Back to the screen, a ball and 2 strikes. Marlins were down 3-0 after 3 innings. They got 2 runs back in the top of the 4th, but promptly gave 5 runs to the Braves in a certain way. Of course, 3 of those runs were unearned. Then they scored again, the Marlins did in the top of this inning, but the Braves answering right back. So 2 shutdown innings, if you will, as Albies will find the gap in right center field. Ron Washington holds Acuna at third, and holding at first is Albies. Again, an opportunity for a shutdown inning, and the Marlins have come up empty in both opportunities there. And Now they find themselves down 6.
I'll tell you what, the 2-out RBIs continue to pour in for the Atlanta Braves. See it there in this breaking ball up at the top of the zone. Albie stays back, drives it back through the box. I mentioned that they picked up a run on the Acuna base hit. Now 41. Albie's has set it up for more.
To Rojas. Freeman is retired. So Garrett strands a couple of Braves on the corners through 5. Atlanta up 9-3. We check in with the studio after the break. Thanks so much. 9-3 as we go to the top of the 6th inning. Miguel Rojas to lead things off. And he takes outside. It's Rojas, Riddle, and Sierra up against Allard. Still out there for his 6th inning of work. So Jose Reyes became the 38th position player to pitch this year. Usually it's in a blowout in the late innings. Remember a couple of weeks ago, Daniel Descalso pitched in, what was it, the 4th inning in Arizona?
Right, and I think he pitched multiple innings that night, I believe.
I believe you're right. I think he pitched 2 innings.
We've seen that a few different times. I know a couple innings ago we had this conversation started, and I believe the Braves erupted, so we stopped. But I think the Cubs used multiple position players one time this year, if I remember correctly. I think Anthony Rizzo pitched and a couple other guys. I don't know if I really have an opinion on it. I don't know about you. It is what it is in the game today. We've seen it a couple of times. We saw it in Tampa where, they were trying to save a pitcher to start the next day and put their backup catcher in, thinking that was going to be the solution. Of course, it didn't work.
A line drive base hit for Miggy over the leap of Albies. Rojas has a hit to begin the 6th.
His first hit of the night. Solid base hit to center field. Let's take another look. Remember these hits on the fastball. This one a little tailing action away, but does a nice job staying on it. As long as nobody gets hurt, Paul, I guess that's probably where I would put it. I mean, it's happened enough times now where, most kids are probably capable of pitching and, throwing a few pitches on the mound. I know it does seem a little silly at times. I find it quite actually entertaining, but I mean, my only concern, in when I played, that was what everybody would say, because we would all throw our hands and, hey, who needs, you know, getting blown out 18-1? I'll throw, let me pitch, right?
Right.
Well, you didn't want anybody going out there and getting hurt. Well, that seems to, I mean, that's just like thrown out the window now. Nobody really worries about that, right? I mean, we've had 38 guys do it. That tells you that teams don't really think it's as big a deal as it once was. My whole generation, every organization I played for, that was always the thing. Like, you'd put your hand in here and say, I'm capable of doing this, and they would be like, yeah, no, you're not pitching. We're not going to have you hurt your arm.
Well, of course, that's the exact thing. And it's I suppose it's different as Riddle lines a base hit into center field. Riddle with hits in back-to-back at-bats. Mentioned before that he had been in a little bit of a skid, but at least in the last 2 ABs, seemingly breaking out of it.
Well, he has been working tirelessly behind the scenes to get that stroke right. He's had a couple of hard hit balls tonight, one to right, one to left center field. Chuck Hernandez out to the mound. Talk to Allard.
Braves have a bit of a new look bullpen as they not only added Kevin Gausman today from the Baltimore Orioles, but also Darren O'Day. Neither are here just yet. But who is here is Teheran Guerrero, activated off the DL today. May get some work. So Guerrero up for the Marlins. Luke Jackson up for the Braves, as Allard has reached the 80 pitch mark. I think what everybody goes back to is Sierra grounds one through the right side, a base hit. A 3-hit night for Sierra. This one will bring home a run. He's got 2 ribbies, and it's now 9-4.
Yeah, great to see. His first pitch breaking ball, he stayed right on it, drove it through the right side. Nice swing by the young Sierra. That ball's down out of the strike zone. Contact off the bat. Another RBI.
ATL Rivera going to pinch hit. Brian Snitker out to the mound just to quickly finish the thought, and then we'll move on. Jose Canseco needed Tommy John surgery after pitching. That's what everybody thinks back to. Florida Lottery called the bullpen. That's going to do it. Major League debut of Colby Allard. But he has 2 runners on that are his responsibility here in Atlanta. The responsibility of Colby Allard, who leaves with a smile on his face. His major league debut, gets a hug from tomorrow's starter Anibal Sanchez, and he gives way to Luke Jackson, who will not face Yadiel Rivera in his 17th game this season, but rather Justin Bour, as Don Mattingly feels this is an opportunity to get right back in the game. Trailing 9-4 at the moment. You get the big bat of Bour off the bench. now is a good time to give it a whirl.
Well, JB has been a huge force pinch hitting this season in limited opportunities.
This one lifted out to right field. Markakis underneath it. And in from third, here is the throw. It's cut off. It's a sac fly as JT Riddle scores. So it's an RBI for Bohr and a 9-5 game with one out here in the sixth.
That is his 8th pinch hit RBI this season. In 9 at-bats, or excuse me, 8 at-bats. 8 RBIs, 8 at-bats pinch hitting.
I'm still not doing it. Every week or so when he comes up and pinch hits, you always threaten me. Why don't you
tell him he's good at it?
Next time you see him down in the cage, why don't you tell him, hey, you're not an everyday player anymore. Why don't you go? It's rabble-rouser, troublemaker. That's up true. The middle. Albies on the backhand. Castro, not a head first slide, but he goes feet first. And he is out for the second out of the inning. To second, Sierra.
Take another look. Albies to the backhand. It's a slow developing play. Starlin hustling all the way. Now, one thing I do know is this, Paul, the leg first slide really doesn't lend itself to being quicker. You got to get those legs back out in front of your body, which is out in front of your legs to start. May have slowed him down just a bit.
So now Brian Anderson. Anderson started the day third in Major League Baseball with a .402 average with runners in scoring position. An opportunity here to further close the gap. Marlins have scored 2 in the inning. In fact, they've scored in the last 3 innings. 2 in the 4th, 1 in the 5th, 2 so far here. Problem has been the home halves. 2, 5, and 1 the last 3 trips to the plate for the Braves, which has been the difference tonight. Outside to Anderson. Singled in the first, walked in the third, and flew out to Markakis in the 5th. One and one. The Braves entered the day a half game back of the Philadelphia Phillies in the National League East. The Phillies a 3-1 winner in Boston earlier tonight. Cut on and missed, 1-2. Be off to Philadelphia at the conclusion of tomorrow night's ball game, a 4-game set with the Phillies. Foul.
Marlins fans, be sure to join Fox Sports Florida and Coors Light at Dave & Buster's at the Dolphin Mall tomorrow night. We have Coors Light specials and great prizes. That's Dave & Buster's at Dolphin Mall, 11481 Northwest 12th Street. See you there.
Ball and 2 strikes to Anderson. Stays alive. Grounded to Camargo at third. Marlins get a couple to back. They trail it by 4 as we go to the bottom of the 6th at SunTrust Park. Mobile, built for baseball. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Mike Trout was built for baseball. As he goes deep to center field, Kevin Kiermaier loses it kind of in one of the rings at Tropicana Field. Of course, we were just there a couple of weeks ago, and of course, Holly, you know, if it hits the C or the D ring, and then it's a home run if it's in fair territory, and that did. So it's a home run for Mike Trout, his 30th and his third 30 home run, 20 steal season.
Did you see how Mike was paying attention to the umpire, though? He was running around the bases, and he was giving him, that's a home run, so he kept running.
Right.
Yeah, see, that's where I was getting on Inciarte for earlier.
Right.
He wasn't paying attention to the umpire.
Neither was I, though, so I guess I grant him a pass there. Justin Bohr stays in the ballgame at first base. Miguel Rojas moves to second. Starlin Castro out, and Tayron Guerrero off the disabled list. 42nd game this season. Brings the heat at 99 miles an hour. A little low to Nick Markakis, who will lead things off. Then Kurt Suzuki and Johan Camargo.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see where Guerrero picks back up. Of course, a little bit of time on the disabled list, and right before he got hurt, that period in time where he was not just gripping it and ripping it, as we saw him do early in April and I'll say even early May. We saw 99 to 102 many times, and any kind of big situation in a ball game, he would rely heavily on the triple-digit fastball to kind of bail him out. Now, as his season had progressed, he was really starting to use the slider. Even, I don't know if it's necessarily a changeup, but a fastball that he was maybe backing off a little bit to get it in the zone. And his game was really starting to make good turns. He was starting to come up with other sequences to throw hitters off.
Those 3 rehab appearances with AA Jacksonville, 3 scoreless innings over 3 games. On the DL since July 5th. One-two pitch. On the ground, Rojas gets to it from the outfield grass. Gets Markakis by a step. 1 away here in the 6th. A quick review of the moves today. Brad Ziegler on his way back to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Cameron Maybin to the Seattle Mariners. Of course, Tayron Guerrero back. Harlan Garcia back. And Isaac Galloway getting set for his first big league action. We talked when we first came on the air, getting set for the scheduled first pitch around 7:30. The moves, and we recapped them, and certainly a lot was talked about around this club today about what Brad Ziegler and what Cameron Maybin meant to this clubhouse. Again, a generally young team, as Suzuki is able to get out of the way. 102 out of the hand of Guerrero.
Yeah, the best part about this, you have no idea as a hitter how you got out of the way of that. Just happened. That's all it is.
Can't say a prayer that quickly, can you?
Nope.
But the leadership for Ziegler in the bullpen, for Maybin among the position players, I think it bears repeating. Again, where this team is right now, moving forward the next couple of years as they continue to build something sustainable, you need those guys to be able to show you the ropes, how to conduct yourself as a big leaguer, find a routine, all those important things that a young team needs, and the importance of those guys who are now hopefully off to better opportunities, I guess.
Well, those same characteristics that made them very, very helpful and certainly influential here in Miami will benefit them in their new destinations, and that's what makes them who they are. I think Ziegler embraced it, as well as Maybin. Both came over, certainly understood their role, and again had to adapt. Remember, Ziegler started the season as a closer, was taken out of the role with some struggles, and reinvented himself. I mean, that's a feather in his cap. Not many guys say, okay, I'll embrace this change and still be a leader on the club. How about Maybin? Every time he seemed to get hot, he had to forfeit time to a young prospect, or somebody that was in a more of a long-term vision than Maybin was in, and had to forfeit some of that time. And both just kept doing their business, kept bringing that smile every day and doing their job. So you respect that. In a lot of ways, you say the reward is now the opportunity to go try to win yourself a ring.
And that's exactly what Maybin did last year when he went to the Houston Astros and was part of that championship squad in 2017. 99 upstairs.
You see that Mizuki a little bit. A lot of hitters do it. It's not. I'm not at all accusing him of kind of diving out over the plate, but you do see a lot of hitters today who kind of create that rhythm with that momentum towards home, and that's kind of what you're seeing with Suzuki. He stands off the plate but gets a little bit of momentum going towards home, and these fastballs just off the corner are pushing him back. See it once again.
Suzuki grounded into a double play to end the first inning, popped up in the third. The big blow, a bases clearing double in the fourth inning. A 5-run fourth inning for Atlanta. This one popped up, and it will be Rojas on the outfield grass, 2 away.
It's easy to beat the heat when you become an energy-saving expert. Go to fpl.com/beattheheat.
We beat the heat so far here in Atlanta. You come here in late July, you figure it could be about 652 degrees.
We beat the heat, but we didn't beat the rain.
Yeah, but that's not the promo.
I'm just saying.
You see, as you follow the promos.
I wasn't paying attention.
Camargo, right center field, and he has done it again as he stays hot both for Atlanta and against the Marlins. It is now 10-5. Coors Light refreshing finish. Camargo right in the happy zone. A home run.
Now this fastball, not the usual 99 to 100. And Camargo all over it. Fastball set at 94 miles an hour. He didn't miss it. Of course, the hard part of this conversation is where I say to you, they've now scored 5 two-out runs.
That is correct, sir. Second home run and 8th RBI this year against the Marlins. And another inning in which the Marlins score in the top half, only to give something back in the home half. 1-2 to Inciarte. Single in the second, a double and a run scored in the fourth before striking out in the 5th inning. Center field for a base hit. It's a 3-hit night for Ender Inciarte. His 10th 3-hit game of the year.
A burger, a beer, and a ball game. The next Modelo Burger and Beer Friday is August 10th. Marlins take on the Mets at 7:10 p.m. Tickets start at just $30. Get yours today at marlins.com/burger.
That is not fog rolling in, ladies and gentlemen. That is the residual smoke from the fireworks after the home run. Not as bad as it was before the home run derby, though, in Washington, D.C. Remember that? And the whole opening ceremonies of the derby and then fireworks going off. And fortunately, a few commercial breaks had to be taken or were scheduled or whatever, and it was just, oh, man, alive.
Find a way to clear the air.
Inside on Swanson. 2 hits for Swanson and an RBI double in the 4th. Guerrero's 2-0 pitch, cut on and missed. In on the hands of Swanson, 2-1. Winkler up for the Braves. Allard worked the first 5. Luke Jackson the 6th. And Winkler getting set for the 7th. Two and 1. Well, the velocity is there for Guerrero. 102 neighborhood a couple of times.
The problem that tonight really is that that's all you've seen.
Two. Foul territory for Bohr. He'll make the catch, and the inning is over. But the Braves tack on one more. They lead at 10-5 at the end of 6.
Tuesday, we're using that hashtag MLB trades because earlier today the trade deadline came and went. The Marlins making a couple of moves, including sending Cameron Maybin to Seattle in exchange for Bryson Brigman. Now both of those guys took to Twitter to share their sentiments. First up, Maybin: thank you, Miami. I've learned from experience. It's never goodbye. It's see you later. As for Brigman, he wanted to thank the Mariners for his opportunity. He also added how excited he is to start this next chapter with the Marlins, and you love that hashtag just getting started, guys.
Yeah, I mean that's the other side of the trade, right? I mean, for now it's Cameron Maybin in that particular trade that will get the headlines, but you never know how things go 2, 3, 4 years down the road. The prospect now may turn into something big later on. I mean, these are the things that you never know, the fun part of it all, and it's all what you do with the new opportunity when you're on the other side of the trade, I suppose. Even with the Marlins here, I mean, the trade of Maybin opens the door for a guy like Isaac Galloway to, at some point in the next day or two or whatever it might be, to get his first big league action.
Absolutely. Now, in today's day and age, it's a little bit, I think it was a little bit different years ago, but a player like Cameron Maybin, I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility. I like the way that he said it. It's I'll see you later. Who's to say that Cameron Maybin might not be back? Seen seen it a number of times. He may be that guy. I think every generation has a guy. He just ends up on the right team all the time, and he ends up with like 3 or 4 rings, World Series rings from 3 or 4 different teams. Maben might be that guy.
Wasn't it Eric Hinsky that played 4 or 5 World Series in a row or something insane? Dribbler to third. Camargo up with it, and Freeman with a play to pick it over at first base. My goodness, on both sides, Camargo and Freeman hooking up. Real Muto retired to begin the 7th.
I'll tell you what, it's a special play by Camargo. I thought this was a hit all the way. JT hustling out of the box. It's your first catch of the day. I think on both ends, Camargo to Freeman. Holy cow. A number of people have raved about Camargo's defense. Nice job by Freeman at first. And take your pick as far as the fresh catch. I think it's on both ends.
Prado looking for his first hit tonight. He has had hits in 7 of his last 8 games. 12 for his last 32 coming into tonight. With 8 multi-hit games in his last 15 starts. Made a bid for a hit in the 5th inning, but Nick Markakis with a stellar defensive play. And Prado comes up empty for the 2nd out here in the 7th. First strikeout for Luke Jackson, who is back out for his 2nd inning of work. Brett Graves up for the Marlins. Outside to Dietrich, who was hit by a pitch in the 4th, came around to score. Marlins scored 2 in that inning, 1 in the 5th and 2 in the 6th. But every time they've scored, the Braves have had an answer. Three-hit night for Sierra. Ball down the right field line into the 2nd deck. Oh, 3rd deck, excuse me. Two and one from Jackson to Dietrich. In there for a called strike.
Yeah, that's been Jackson's best pitch tonight, that slider. He's been able to use it in a couple of key spots to get back in some counts, and saw right there, able to back it up to Dietrich.
They'll throw down to first base to complete the strikeout. Back-to-back strikeouts for Jackson to end the 7th. We stretch at SunTrust Park. Major League debut. Congratulations to him. It's been a long road, but he's finally here. And two Major League debuts in this ball game. Isaac Galloway for the Marlins, and tonight's starting pitcher for the Braves, Colby Allard. But yeah, a long road. He's finally here.
Yeah, I'm excited for him. Good to see Galloway get an opportunity tonight. I know he's excited. It's been a long night. You know, maybe this long night created this opportunity for him. Glad to see him get out on the field. Hopefully gets an at bat. 947 career minor league games, and all worth #1 here at the Major League level.
And you know what? Thankfully, there was a rain delay.
Right.
He got here in the middle of the game that started at 9 o'clock.
That's exactly what we were talking about. Yeah. This may turn into a blessing in disguise, if you will.
Brett Graves on to pitch, misses outside to Luke Jackson, the pitcher, hitting for himself. 7th game of the year for Graves. I mean, you think about, for Galloway, 947 minor league games. That's a lot of bus rides through the night. That's a lot of commercial flights, as Jackson will take first. That's the thing. I mean, major league teams, they've got team planes, charters, whatever it might be, but AAA, if you're in AAA, it's usually a commercial flight early in the morning, and sometimes teams will be on 2 different flights. One's on the 6 a.m., one's on the 7:30. You got to have the team in 2 spots.
Yeah, it can happen. But again, there's always one goal in mind, and that's ultimately to put the uniform on and to play a big league ball game and get your career going, and he's earned it. I mean, he's all those morning flights, I promise you, if you ask him after the game, he'll tell you it was worth it.
Absolutely. Acuna Jr. with the base hit. Jackson up to second. Braves have 2 on, nobody out in the 7th.
Continues to get it done out of the leadoff spot. 3 hits tonight.
Here's Albies, who's got 2 hits as well. Game that was started by Dan Straley went 3 2/3 innings, 11 hits, 8 runs, 5 of them were earned. A walk and 4 strikeouts. Guerra pitched an inning and a third, gave up 3 hits and a run. This one grounded to Rojas, gets it to Riddle, over to first, and Albies grounds into the double play. Up to third goes Jackson, 2 outs in the 7th.
Nice job by Graves getting the ground ball. 1 pitch, 1 ground ball, 2 outs. Opportunity to get out of the 7th inning without giving up any damage.
Not an easy out, however, Freddie Freeman. A check, he did go around, says the third base umpire Phil Cuzzy. 0-1 to Freeman, who started the night with 2 hits in his first 2 trips, scored a run in the 3rd. And a fly out and a ground out, so 2 for 4 to this point. 0-2. Floats this one out to center field. It will fall in for a base hit. Again, 2-out run for the Braves.
You know, coming into tonight, looking at some numbers, I think they were trailing the Mariners by 12. They've cut the deficit less than, what, a game and a half. 6 more tonight. I think they're only trailing now by 2 for the league lead. Coming in, the Angels had scored 45 two-out runs against the Mariners. The Braves had scored 35. So, excuse me, it was a difference of 10. But tonight, 6 two-out RBIs have really cut into that.
I mean, it's a relentless club. It really is.
It just seems like they do some of their best work with 2 outs. I mean, in that situation right there, Freeman down in the count, 0-2. Graves tries to make a pitch up and in, and he just fights it off and dumps it in center field. I think you're 1 pitch from getting out of it.
Braves have scored in every inning tonight except the second. To the right side, Rojas gets to it, gets rid of it quick, and gets Markakis by a step. We are through 7. It's an 11-5 Braves lead. Flash you back. July 31st, 2016, Derek Dietrich. The Marlins' first walk-off triple. This day in Marlins history presented to you by Geico. Tommy Pham, who is no longer a member of the Cardinals, by the way. And in comes Danny Echeverria to score. And then
I think they should rip his uniform top off.
Oh, they absolutely will. Yeah, yeah. No undershirt, apparently.
Look at this.
How about that? Look at it. There it is.
That was a good celebration, wasn't it?
No undershirt?
Well, I mean, I think there was one on there, but
you think so?
His teammates were just absolutely mauling him. He was not getting off the field with that shirt on.
No chance. Well, that we had the today's another Twitter Tuesday for another 30 minutes, but we had the lookalikes a couple of weeks ago, and I think somebody had tweeted in Dietrich and the Incredible Hulk. That was the shot right there.
There you go.
Two 2-0 to Miguel Rojas. Fouls it back. 2-1. It's Rojas, Riddle, and Sierra. Combined 6 hits between these 3 guys tonight. Rojas with 1. He scored a couple of runs. Riddle's got 2 hits. Sierra's got 3 hits. Marlins as a team have 9.
And the production tonight really from the bottom of the lineup.
But the issue has been the infamous shutdown inning tonight. couple of hops. Camargo.
Marlins fans, be sure to join Fox Sports Florida and Coors Light at Dave & Buster's at the Dolphin Mall tomorrow night. We will have Coors Light specials and great prizes. That's Dave & Buster's at the Dolphin Mall, 11481 Northwest 12th Street. See you there.
You were an arcade guy growing up, weren't you?
Well, sure, a little bit.
It was a video game, like a home video game.
Right.
Not the arcade video game guy. But you take the kids to Dave & Buster's.
There you go. That's just,
here's some sugar. I'll see you in 3 hours.
That's right. Day's worth of entertainment. Problem is, all those machines don't take quarters anymore.
No, they do not.
They just take like $5 bills.
Well, that, and you gotta load up the card.
That's right. My generation used to go to the arcade, and you're like, all right, here's my $5 bill. Give me all the quarters so I can go play. Yeah, that's like 10 seconds.
It's a lot easier now with that card. Couple of hits for Riddle tonight. Had a hitless homestand and was 0 for 1 last night. Pitch from Jackson is tapped foul.
I'll tell you what, the breaking ball for Jackson's been really good tonight. Since entering the ball game, gave up that sacrifice fly to Bohr, but since then, 4 outs on the ground and a couple of strikeouts, and almost every Marlins hitter was either swinging through that slider or putting it in play on the ground.
Riddle had an RBI single back in the 4th. A single and a run scored in the 6th. And a called strike 3 right at the bottom of the zone. Second out here in the 8th.
Seen a number of pitches at the bottom of the zone, so many so that you almost anticipate a slider there. So Jackson trying to put away a number of hitters at the bottom of the zone with that slider, uses the fastball, dials it up.
Look out in the Braves dugout. Magnaoris Sierra has had himself a night, a double and 2 singles, 2 RBIs. Took him a little while to get going in his Marlins career, but tonight he's been hitting on all cylinders. Cut on and missed. It gets away from Suzuki, and they'll throw down to first base to complete the strikeout. Well, stick around. When we get to the top of the 9th, Galloway's going to hit. Bottom 8 coming up. Coming up tomorrow on the air with the pregame show, Marlins Live at 7 o'clock. Marlins and Braves, first pitch a little after 7:30. Pablo Lopez and Anibal Sanchez. Last of this 3-game set. Before the Marlins head out to Philadelphia for 4. There's Kurt Suzuki taking the ball outside. It is Suzuki, Camargo, and Inciarte. Is it bordering on chilly here? No?
I think it's the air conditioner.
That's what that is?
Yeah, it's right over your head.
Oh, well, all right.
Seriously.
Just check it. You're probably right. So used to South Florida now where it's like 99 degrees.
July 31st in Atlanta.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's been raining for 22 hours.
Well, it's true. And it's going to rain for, as everybody keeps telling us, apparently 22 more. But I think that the air conditioner just kicked on.
See, they're wearing jackets.
Well,
you think that's just for the hood? It's just for the hood. Back to your regularly scheduled programming. Feels a little drafty in there. That's all I'm saying. Now I know why. Suzuki out to center field. Sierra makes the catch. 1 away.
Watch every out-of-market regular season game live or on demand, at home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Where subscription includes MLB at Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Lockout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
1 out for Johan Camargo. And a home run back in the 6th inning. His 12th of the season to go along with 46 RBIs. 2-0. Busy this trade deadline season, acquiring a couple of former Baltimore Orioles for Brian Snitker to use at different times. Kevin Gausman, the controllable starter that they had been looking for. Darren O'Day, Brad Brock a couple of days ago. Of course, the Orioles made the big splash. Maybe it was the Dodgers that made the splash, but either way, Manny Machado leaving Baltimore, and Jonathan Scope also on the move. Jonathan VR going the other way to Baltimore. So kind of the way that the Orioles season has gone, and that American League East is a 2-team race without a shadow of a doubt. The Orioles saw their window to fortify a farm system which the last few years has been ranked toward the bottom. As Camargo draws the walk. Yes, no swing, so a 1-out walk. But, you know, tough decisions. Not all of those were expiring contracts. Creating opportunity for some of their young players, like for the Marlins. Isaac Galloway will get his first big league plate appearance, 2nd in the 8th inning. Ninth inning, rather. Get some action here on the base hit off the bat of Inciarte. Dansby Swanson. Strike from Graves. Swanson has reached base 3 times. once on a fielder's choice, an RBI double in the 4th, and a single in the 5th. He's also scored a couple of runs.
Well, the Braves 1 hit away from 20.
How many did the Nats end up with tonight? Oh, 26. Only counts as 1 for the Mets. Lost 25-4 tonight.
It just takes me back. I was thinking back to my rant about a week ago about strikeouts in the game of baseball and the hits. The fact that strikeouts had overtaken hits.
Right.
These 2 games at the forefront of my mind tonight, I'm sure, have probably evened that out a little bit more. And between the 2 teams, what are we talking here? 45 hits?
Yep.
Between the Nats and the Braves tonight?
Flaherty on deck for the Braves. It's a Braves team that was 49-34, 3.5 games up on the competition in the National League East on July 2nd. Back to Braves, and Graves makes there's Braves. There's a lot of stuff going on. Anyway, double play to end it as we go to the 9th. Get a chance to see Isaac Galloway. On Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Lincoln. Join the Lincoln Summer Invitation Sales Event. And by your South Florida Honda dealers. Thanks for sticking around late night here in Atlanta with an hour-and-a-half rain delay to start. This one moves to the 9th inning. With the Braves in front 11-5. First Major League plate appearance for Isaac Galloway on the way. Draft pick of the Marlins back in 2008. Waited a while. Here's Dan Winkler on to pitch. 47th game for Atlanta, and he misses up and away to Justin Bour.
Yeah, Winkler's had a pretty nice season. Just over 42 innings, 52 strikeouts to go along with it.
Bour entered the game as a pinch hitter in the 6th inning, had a sacrifice fly. And Suzuki down in pain.
Well, the dangers of the cut fastball. That little foul tip kind of redirected. Let's say inner right thigh. Oh no. Square. Suzuki. 1-2. Suzuki ready to go.
2-2 to Justin Bohr. One away for Isaac Galloway, his first major league plate appearance. Called up today, joined the club middle of the game thanks in part to a rain delay. Had a terrific June, cooled off a little bit in July, but still hitting .294 since the start of June as he takes a called strike. Comes up to the big leagues with plenty of speed. Was tied for 4th in the Pacific Coast League in stolen bases with 20. 6th in runs scored with 64. And a ground ball. Swanson up with it. There's that speed, his first big league hit.
I'll tell you what, well worth it. Everything that we've seen happen tonight for that moment right there. I'll tell you something special for him. You see Freddie Freeman give him a little love as well. It's good to see.
He's been waiting a long time for that baseball.
Wow. Well, congratulations. Great swing, little slider away. Right back up the middle. Get to see that speed on display.
Yeah, might see it going first to third here on the base hit from Anderson, who's on his way to second base. And oh man, slid right into Albies, and in to score is Galloway.
I'll tell you what, my goodness gracious, that was a nasty collision at second base. Great instincts by Galloway to keep going. Anderson, nothing deliberate here. And he was just hustling into second base, and the throw takes him into Anderson. You see Albies retreating to catch that ball on the bounce. Well, Anderson really just starting his slide, clips him kind of from behind. You see it once again. Albies clearly out of position. Anderson having to get down, but really nowhere to go. Incidental contact. Training staff out to check on Albies. He looks like he's okay.
And at the other end of it, Galloway comes in to score his first big league run.
I wonder how many nights he went to sleep thinking, boy, is the big leagues harder than AAA? And I mean, he just made it look easy, did he not? Saw a couple pitches, got a slider, got himself a little base hit, scored from first, ball in the gap, hustling all the way. It's the same game, right? Nearly 1,000 minor league games for that moment we just saw. Great to see. Good to see Albies back up on his feet.
The first thing I thought of was, did he hit his head on the dirt? I know he went down hard, but sometimes that head will snap back.
And what ends up happening, you know, listen, ball players, you're not used to getting hit from behind in anything. I mean, you can almost talk about it in terms of football. Albies is fielding the ball in front. Anderson's coming from behind. He's completely clipped. There was no way he was even prepared to have his feet taken out from underneath him.
So a run in and 1 on 1 out. 1 strike on JT Realmuto. 0-2. No RBI on the play for Anderson, being ruled as Galloway just advancing on the play. Bookkeeping, I suppose, to some degree, although a run off the board in the RBI column for Anderson. To third, Camargo. And the Marlins down to their last out. Coming up, at the conclusion of this one, the WB Mason Marlins Live postgame show. Craig Minervini, Tommy Hutton, and Gabby Sanchez have been hanging around all night in studio. We'll hear from Don Mattingly, and we hope to hear from Isaac Galloway after his first big league action, his first big league hit, run scored. If we can get him down from cloud 9, we hope to talk to him after the game. Prado fouls it back, 0-1. Right field line, and that will drift into the seats. 0-2 to Prado. A game that started with a 1 hour and 27-minute rain delay. We approach midnight here in Atlanta. Whitler's pitch is in the dirt. It's away from Suzuki, but not enough for Anderson to advance. Back at it tomorrow for the last of 3. Pablo Lopez, Anibal Sanchez, your 2 starting pitchers. If the score holds, the Marlins will look to salvage the last of this 3-game series. 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 3. The Braves endure a lengthy rain delay. They pick up the victory, 11-6, the final score.